Today, I'm going to tell you 3 stories that share a common theme that demonstrate that sometimes fiction is life's big. But before we get started, if you're a fan of mind-bending, spooky stories that harden the tips of your nips, maybe you're cool. Cool enough even to watch my other videos because I upload twice a week. And if you think you can handle that, then you might be able to handle the like button. It's been running its filthy digital mouth all over town, and it would be best for everybody if someone showed it some tough love, if you know what I mean. I am a professional at telling stories, and the like button can be a professional at keeping its mouth zipped up tight. If that's something that you can do, then there might be some more work for you later on. I hear that the subscribe button could do with a brand new pair of lead swimming shoes. One morning in 1908, there was a young man standing on a train platform alone in Vienna. He had been waiting for almost an hour, and he was looking around at how quiet and still it was, and he was sort of holding his coat closed against the cold. Other passengers came and went on the platform, but he just stayed there, staring down the train tracks, and he was sort of holding a sketchbook that felt heavier than it should. Nobody spoke to him. Nobody even noticed him. But years later, millions of people would, because that young, struggling artist was none other than Adolf Hitler. One afternoon, there was a young man who had just stepped out onto the street in the city where he lived, and behind him was a fine arts college, and in his hand, a crumpled up rejection letter. The doors closed behind him, and he was just looking around at these empty streets. All the while, the sound of boots stomping in unison lingered on in his imagination. He paused outside, staring down at the cold cobblestone, thinking to himself, the world had just made a big mistake. It just hadn't realized it yet. A few students walked past without even a glance, and they were laughing, which really bothered him, and it just kept lingering in his mind. The letter in his hand wouldn't just close a door for him, but it would help shape him into the man who would go on to change the world. And that man was Adolf Hitler. Our final story for today focuses on a young military recruit. One day, during a marching drill, he found himself contemplating the state of the world around him. And that was part of why he joined the military to begin with. He wanted to make a difference. The mornings were really cold, and the uniforms really stiff, and the commands shouted in a language that sometimes seemed harsher than the work itself. But he and his fellow recruits, they were used to it, because it was part of their upbringing. He made small mistakes like everybody else, nothing that made him stand out, but they would linger in his mind like tiny sparks that would ignite something far bigger. Those sparks would erupt into a fire that would sweep across the world and change everything. And that man was Adolf Hitler. Thank you so much for watching, and be sure to leave your thoughts in the comments below, especially if you have a story that relates to any of the ones I've told today. If you like what you saw, be sure to check out my other videos. I've uploaded so many that I've lost count. Alright, until next time, adios.